Holy Quran. May I request Hamza Muzaffar to please come and recite a few verses.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. And the translation as follows: Surely a messenger has come unto you from among yourselves. Grievous to him is it that you should fall into trouble. He is ardently desirous of your welfare, and to the believers he is especially compassionate and merciful. But if they turn away, say, Allah is sufficient for me. There is no God but He. In Him do I put my trust, and He is the Lord of the mighty throne.
Jazakallah. Next we are going to have Qasida by Dawar Rashid.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya Rabbi salli ala nabiyyika daiman fi hadhihi dunya wa basin sami. Ya Rabbi salli ala nabiyyika daiman fi hadhihi dunya wa basin sami. Ya Ayn fayzillahi wal irfani yas'a ilayka al-khalqu kaz-zamani. Ya bahra fazlil mun'im al-mannani tahwi ilayka zum'u bil-kizani. Ya Rabbi salli ala nabiyyika daiman fi hadhihi dunya wa basin sani. Ya shamsa mulkil husni wal ihsani nawarta wajhal barri wal gharani. Qawmun ra'uka wa ummatun qad ukhbirat min zalikal badril azi asbani. Ya Rabbi salli ala nabiyyika daiman fi hadhihi dunya wa basin sani. Yabkuna min zikril jamali sababatan wa ta'alluman min lawatil jurani. وبعث ثاني يا من غدا في نوره وزيائه كالنير ونور الملغاني يا بدرنا يا آية الرحمن أهدى الهداة وأشجع الشجعان يا رب صل على نبيك دائما في هذه الدنيا وباس ثاني إني أرى في وجهك المتهلل شنا يفوق شمائل الإنسان وقد اقتفاك أولو النهى وبصدقهم ودعوا تذكر معهد الأوطان يا رب صل على نبيك دائما في هذه الدنيا وباس ثاني قد آثروك وفارقوا أحبابهم وتباعدوا من هلكة الإخوان قد وداه وهو أهون فساهم وتبرؤوا من كل نشعب فاني يا رب صل على نبيك دائما في هذه الدنيا وباس ثاني يا رب صل على نبيك دائما في هذه الدنيا وباس ثاني جزاك
Jazakallah Dawar. Next we are going to have Fire Academy students' presentations. The first one is going to be the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his love for Allah, and that is by Farida White.
The topic of my presentation is the Holy Prophet's love for Allah. Next page, please. How did the Holy Prophet ﷺ express his love for Allah? By being regular in his worship of Allah. He spent a great deal of his time during the day and night in prayer to Allah. He stood for prayer at night for so long that his feet would get swollen. The Holy Prophet ﷺ emphasized the importance of compassion and kindness toward all of mankind. The Holy Quran references the example of his behavior in the following passage. And it is by the great mercy of Allah that thou art kind towards them. And if thou hast been rough and hard-hearted, they would assuredly have dispersed from around thee. So pardon them and ask forgiveness for them. Then put thy trust in Allah. Surely Allah loves those who put their trust in Him. Chapter 3, verse 160. This passage is significant because it references the kindness that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ demonstrated towards his fellow human beings and encouraged them to put their trust in Allah. Next slide, please. The Holy Prophet ﷺ embodied the attribute of Allah, Ar-Ra'uf, the compassionate, throughout his life. Because the Holy Prophet ﷺ loved Allah so much, he eventually embodied several attributes of Allah. In particular, he demonstrated the attribute of Ar-Ra'uf, the compassionate, very strength in his life. The following slide will show how he demonstrated the compassion and his love for Allah by embracing the idea of Ar-Rauf, the compassionate. Next slide, please. The Holy Prophet ﷺ embodied the attribute of Allah, Ar-Rauf, the compassionate with children. During his time, the birth of a girl was considered to be a dishonorable thing among many Arab tribes. Many Arab tribes buried their baby girls alive, thinking that such an action would save their honor. The Holy Prophet ﷺ abolished this inhumane custom. He went on to emphasize the importance of educating women as well. There is even a hadith which states, "Seeking knowledge is a duty of every Muslim man and Muslim woman." When it came to raising children, he also emphasized that much care should be given to developing high moral standards in them. Respect your children and cultivate them in the best of manners. Next slide, please. This hadith highlights the importance of not only providing your children with basic needs, such as food and shelter, but also the importance of developing their dignity and self-respect as well. The Holy Prophet ﷺ also emphasized the importance of caring for society's orphans, or children who no longer had their biological parents. The Prophet of Islam stated, "I am the one who looks after the needs of an orphan and brings him or her up in the best possible manner, will be together in heaven like two fingers of a hand." He held his forefinger and middle finger together for emphasis. Next page, please. The Holy Prophet ﷺ embodied the attribute of Allah, Ar-Rauf, the compassionate with animals. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ once stated, "Whoever kills a sparrow or anything bigger than that without a just cause, God will hold him accountable on the day of judgment." The listeners asked, "O Messenger of Allah, what is a just cause?" He replied that he will kill it to eat, not simply to chop off its head and then throw it away. This exchange makes it clear that the Prophet did not approve of unnecessarily killing animals. Islam expects humankind to treat all living creatures, such as mammals, birds, and sea creatures, and insects, with respect and dignity. Next slide, please. The Holy Prophet ﷺ forbade cutting tails and manes of horses, branding animals in any sensitive spot, and keeping horses saddled without need. If the Prophet saw any animal overburdened or ill-fed, he would speak mildly to the owner and say, "Fear Allah in your treatment of animals." The Holy Prophet ﷺ knew that Allah put all animals on earth to create balance and for our benefit. Next slide, please. How can we live up to the example of the Holy Prophet ﷺ? His love for Allah is evident from the way he submitted to the will of Allah in the face of extreme adversity. He suffered many hardships through the course of his life. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ lost his parents and grandparents at a very young age. As an adult, he had to cope with the loss of many of his children. When his son Ibrahim died, the Holy Prophet ﷺ said, "The eye shed tears and the heart grieves, yet we say not anything that would offend our Lord. Ibrahim, we grieve surely thy parting. To Allah we belong, and to him shall we all return." The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, his faith in Allah remained steadfast through all the hardships that he endured in his life. As Ahmadi Muslims, we should strive to follow his example. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah. Next presentation is on Holy Prophet ﷺ's marriage with Hazrat Khadija as a role model by Ansa Ahmed.
Today I will be talking
talking about the marriage of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha. The marriage of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha can be considered as the first example of family life. Here we can get a better look into family relationships, marital affairs, practices, and attitudes. But before we look at their married life, let's see how they met. Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a shepherd. He would get insufficient wages tending other people's flock. It so happened that Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha's older sister had a flock of camels. And so she hired him to take the herd and graze them outside of Makkah. She had hired another man for this too. After the grazing, the young man that was with him said, "Now that we are done, let's go get our wages from Hazrat Khadija's older sister." But Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said he was too shy and told him to go and get their wages instead. So the person came to Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha's sister's home, and it so happened that Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha was there. Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha asked, "Where is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He has also earned half of the wage. Where is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?" So the man said, "He was too shy to ask it from you." And Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha's sister said, "I have not seen any man who was more shy, more noble, more honorable, and more chaste in his interactions." This was the first time Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha had heard of his name in such a manner. And just like with any human being, that when a person is praised in such manner, something entered her heart. Eventually, later on in the year, Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha had to send her own caravan to Syria. Now in those days, you wouldn't hire such a person by wage. You would make it a percentage profit. Usually the people she would send would steal and lie and would not give the whole earnings. Then she remembered her sister praising Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and thought, "Why don't I choose this young man?" Even though he was inexperienced when it came to business, he had never gone on a business trip himself. He was not somebody who was a businessman, but because of his honesty, she decided to overlook his lack of experience and age. Generally, you would choose someone who would know the caravan routes, but she overlooked all of this because she wanted somebody honest. When a man is decent and elegant in his interactions with a woman, when a man treats a woman in this manner, this automatically has a characteristic that is noble. So Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha sent a message through one of her servants requesting Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam take her caravan to Syria. He was apprehensive and sought the permission of his uncle, Hazrat Abu Talib radhiyallahu anha, who advised him to take the job and oblige Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha, for she is a respectable, wealthy woman. Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha promised him half of the profits as an incentive for him, in the hopes that he will be encouraged to do a good job. Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam took the caravan to Basra, a small town outside of Damascus, where there was a huge marketplace. He had a servant of Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha with him. When they came back, Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha saw that the caravan had earned multiple profits, more than anything she had ever experienced. This increased the emotion she had for him, impressed by his character, moved by his honesty, and before long, she was sending a proposal of marriage to Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah had chosen for him a woman who would give him support and comfort, and Hazrat Khadija radhiyallahu anha was a loving and comforting wife. This was proven when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ran home petrified after receiving his first revelation. "Cover me, cover me." That incident had shaken him to the core so wanted to do was seek the counsel and support of his wife, Hazrat Khadija Raziyallahu anha. She consoled him, calmed him, and reassured him that he was a good man. He helped the poor, and he was always honest. There was no way Allah would turn his back on him. Long after Hazrat Khadija Raziyallahu anha's death, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam would explain to Hazrat Aisha Raziyallahu anha how Hazrat Khadija Raziyallahu anha was the one who stood by him when no one did, how she was the first to believe in him when everyone rejected him, how she gave him her money when everybody had abandoned him, how she supported him when the community gave him the cold shoulder, how Allah blessed him with children only through her. Once he heard the footsteps of her older sister. It was so similar to Hazrat Khadija Raziyallahu anha that he became pale as memories of her flooded back to him. One Sahaba said that Hazrat Khadija Raziyallahu anha's passing, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not smile for months. It was certainly a huge loss for him. We are fortunate to have a perfect model for us in Islam. May we all strive to follow the same path. Ameen. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah Anta for a wonderful presentation. I hope all youngsters here must have learned few things from this presentation. Next we are going to have another presentation, and that is on childhood of the Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam by Malika Bushra.
I'll be presenting the early life of the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and towards the end I'm going to have a quiz, so please pay attention. Family background. The Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam belonged to the tribe of Quraysh, which was the leading tribe of Mecca. The Quraysh were descendants of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam through his son, Prophet Ismail alayhi salam. The Kaaba was rebuilt by Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son Hazrat Ismail alayhi salam some 2,600 years before the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Arabia at the time of his birth. At the time of the birth of the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the whole world was passing through a period of extreme moral and religious decline. The conditions in Arabia were especially worse. The Arabs would drink a lot, gamble, do brutal deeds, and fight due to tribal rivalries. The Arabs believed in one supreme God and in the prophethood of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam, yet they worshipped many other idols. Birth and early childhood. The Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was born in Mecca on April 20th, 571 AD. He was born in the respected family of Banu Hashim of the Quraysh. His father, Hazrat Abdullah Raziyallahu anhu, died sometime before his birth. Before his birth, his mother, Hazrat Amina Raziyallahu anhu, had a vision in which an angel proposed to her the name Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam for a child. The Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was brought up by his grandfather, Hazrat Abdul Muttalib Raziyallahu anhu, the chief of Mecca. A custom in Mecca was that a nurse would take care of the child after birth till the age of 6. Hazrat Halima Raziyallahu anhu took care of His Holiness Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's mother died when he was 6, and his grandfather also passed away 2 years later. After the death of his grandfather, his uncle Hazrat Abu Talib Raziyallahu anhu took care of him. His uncle already had a large family to support and by no means rich, but he still showed great love and care towards Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. When His Holiness Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was younger, he was described as a calm and obedient person. Early teens of the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. In his early teens, the Holy Prophet Muhammad accompanied his uncle Hazrat Abu Talib on a journey to Al-Sham, Syria. In connection to this trip, the biographers relate young Muhammad's encounter with a monk named Bahira, who recognized in him the signs of prophethood and advised Hazrat Abu Talib to take good care of him. When the Holy Prophet Muhammad grew older, he started earning his own living by modest business transaction, but mostly as a shepherd. And now the quiz. So I'm going to have 2 questions for the Iqbal and 2 questions for the Nasrat. And the first question is for the Iqbal, which is, how did people describe the Holy Prophet Muhammad in his early years?
Hazrat Muhammad was described as a honest and a proud prophet of Allah.
Okay, Sakura. That, and he was calm and obedient. And the next question is for the Nasrat. What was the date of the Holy Prophet Muhammad's birth?
April 20th.
That's correct. The next question is for the Iqbal. Why was the Holy Prophet given the name Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Hazrat Amna in a dream, Hazrat Amna had a dream that she would have a young boy and his name was Muhammad.
That is correct. And the last question is for the Nasrat. What was the name of the nurse that took care of His Holiness Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
Hazrat Halima.
Jazakallah for the interesting presentation. Next we are going to move on to the next item on the agenda, and that is a Nazam by Chaudhry Abdul.
खुदाए बरतर یار لامکانی وہ دل برے نہانی دیکھا ہے ہم نے اس سے بس رہنما یہی ہے دیکھا ہے ہم نے اس سے بس رہنما یہی ہے وہ آج شاہدین ہے وہ تاج مرسلی ہے وہ طیب و امی ہے اس کی ثنا یہی ہے وہ طیب و امی ہے اس کی ثنا یہی ہے اس نور پر فدا ہوں اس کا ہی میں ہوا ہوں وہ ہے میں چیز کیا ہوں بس فیصلہ یہی ہے وہ ہے میں چیز کیا ہوں بس فیصلہ یہی ہے وہ دل برے یگانا علموں کا ہے خزانہ باقی ہے سب فسانہ سچ بے خطا یہی ہے باقی ہے سب فسانہ سچ بے خطا یہی ہے
Jazakallah Chaudhry Sahab. The translation is going to be presented by Hassan Chaudhry.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I'll be presenting the English translation of the poem This Recital. These couplets are written by the Promised Messiah alayhi salam in praise of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That guide of ours is the source of all light. His name is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is indeed our beloved. All the prophets are indeed pure, one excelling the other. But in the sight of Allah, the great Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is undoubtedly the best of all. He loved God dearly, and he is God's beloved. Through him we found the right path. Surely he is the best guide. He is the king of faith and the crown of all the prophets. He is pure, the trusted one, and such indeed is his praise. I am devoted upon that light, and I am completely possessed by it. In his presence my own person is insignificant, and that is the truth. He is the most beloved of God and the treasure of spiritual knowledge. Everything else is an illusion, and the truth is that he is the faultless one.
Jazakallah. Next, we announced an essay competition, and I request Ravi Saab to introduce the competition and participation in that, and then we will have the first position in English and Urdu be presented.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem wa ala abdihi al-masih. By the grace and mercy of Allah the Almighty, this year an essay writing competition was held among the membership of Mubarak Mosque in Virginia. The topic that was announced was Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, an exemplary worshipper of Allah. The participants had the option of either writing in English or in Urdu language, with a minimum word limit of 1500. Alhamdulillah, summa alhamdulillah, we received 16 submissions. 14 submissions were in English language and 2 were in Urdu language. The winning essay in English and Urdu will inshallah be read out here today, and will also be submitted for publication in the National Gazette of Jamaat Ahmadiyya USA, inshallah. The top 3 positions are in English writing or English essay writing are as follows. The top position, the first position, has been procured by Manahil Khan Sahiba. Barakallah lakum. There was a tie between the second place, for the second place between Sabiha Salma Sahiba, Barakallahu lakum, and Maham Khan Sahiba, Barakallahu lakum. And the third position was procured by Sadaf Ahmad Sahiba, Barakallahu lakum. The top 2 Urdu positions are as follows. Number 1 is Haris Raja Sahib, Barakallahu lakum, and number 2 is Saima Avan Sahiba, Barakallahu lakum. These top positions, whose names have just been announced, will inshallah be receiving a certificate of achievement, and on top of that, the winner in the English essay writing competition and the winner in the Urdu essay writing competition will also receive a digital Holy Quran reciter. At this point, I would like to mention that the certificates for the Lajna side have already been sent upstairs. I would request Sadr Saiba, Central Virginia, to please hand out those certificates to the winners. I will quickly mention them once again. The first position is in English language, Manahil Khan Sahiba. She used to receive a certificate and also the Holy Quran, digital Holy Quran reciter. The second position, there was a tie, and the certificate for second position will go to Sabiha Salma Sahiba, and also for the second position will go to Maham Khan Sahiba. For the third position in English language, for English essay, the certificate will go to Sadaf Ahmad Sahiba. And for the second position in Urdu essay, the certificate will be awarded to Saima Aban Sahiba. On the men's side, I am now going to request Haris Raja Sahib to please come forward and receive his certificate and the digital Holy Quran reciter from Sadr Sahib at the head of Sir. Barakallahu. This concludes the report for the essay competition.
Jazakallah. At this time, I would like to request Musa Mirza to come and read out the English first position essay for the members. This is on behalf of Lajna member Manahil Khan, who secured the first position in English competition.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, an exemplary worshipper of Allah, refused to be content with just the knowledge of God, but insist on experiencing His presence vicariously. With the rapidly growing changes occurring in human life on a daily basis, there is a dire need for observance, preservance, as well as practical application of multiplied efforts towards developing a bond and worshiping Allah in a way that creates secure attachments with Him. However, a typical query that emerges among the masses is how to pray in a way that brings upon most effective results. No matter what age or level of maturity, this question may arise in countless hearts looking for a light towards the path of righteousness. The journey towards heaven from earth may seem like a long and arduous one without proper guidance. However, the appropriate guidance is, and always will be present for humanity in the image of Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his teachings. God created man as the best possible form of creation, instilling the utmost faculties that can enable people to become humble abodes of Allah. Nevertheless, this is a tremendous responsibility on the shoulders of humankind. To fulfill this obligation, divine guidance is needed, one that has been presented in the form of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ, along with the Holy Quran, is the final guiding ray towards happiness for humanity, both in this world and the next. The proper guidance for all of humanity is, and always will be present in the image of Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his teachings. Hence, it is one of the utmost importance to learn about the Holy Prophet ﷺ and highlight the exemplification of his laudable life and exemplary form of worship. The Prophet ﷺ presented himself in a way that provided the best human values, displaying through his nature and creating a guiding path towards the people around him and his followers. Discovering the different aspects of his life indeed resulted in creating the real value and righteous path of humankind to follow upon. The path enlightened us in a way that reiterated again and again as to why he indeed is considered an exemplary worshipper of Allah and wanted his followers to be an image of all that is pure on earth. The Holy Prophet ﷺ was a representation of love. He provided nothing but love and respect for his family, loved ones, and strangers. He loved humanity as a whole, showing adoration towards the oppressed and the marginalized. However, a love that dominated through his heart and radiated from his body was the love of Allah. It was in his love for Allah that he embedded and professed, due to which even to this day he remains and will remain the prime example of worshipper for everyone else to imitate. The immense love that he has entailed within himself found multitudes of expression through his worship. It was one of the most pleasurable aspects of life for him personally, as his devotion included private and intimate conversation with Allah. His worship saw no end, never growing tired of his obedience and service. Hazrat Aisha Radhiyallahu anha once stated, "The Messenger of God would be speaking to us, and we would be speaking to him until the time for prayer was set, and then it was as if he did not know us and we did not know him." Bihar al-Anwar, volume 84, page 257. Gratitude, a word that is so simple yet has such a profound meaning. However, the real sense of this word was exhibited and sonorously displayed through the actions of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. The expression of appreciation and gratitude was shown by the Prophet ﷺ to every individual who extends towards him, even an ounce of kindness. Most of all, his life was devoted to his Creator for each favor bestowed upon him. In one of his narrations, it is stated, "Contemplate those who have less than you, and not those who have more than you, lest you belittle the favors of Allah conferred upon you." Bukhari and Muslim. Even before taking upon the mantle of prophethood, love and worship of his Lord processed each and every fiber of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Starting from early childhood and transitioning towards boyhood and youth, the Holy Prophet ﷺ's life was complete juxtaposition of the corrupt society that he was a member of. Never having engaged in any immoral, unethical, or frivolous activities of his fellow citizens, the Holy Prophet ﷺ took upon the option to solitary confinement in the cave called Hira, which he would spend several days at a time with the sole purpose of worshiping and praying to his sole Creator. It indeed was in Cave of Hira that the Holy Prophet received the divine invitation into the ministry and religion of purity. To many followers, worship might just be praying to Allah in the form of the 5 daily prayers. However, the Holy Prophet ﷺ negated that this thought process, that as much as prayers are vital for worship, there are other aspects which need to be considered and added to follow in the footsteps of the exemplar of worship. As much as he loved the Almighty, the Holy Prophet honored the words of Allah just as much. The mere sound of the Holy Quran being recited brought upon intense emotions to the point where his eyes would be filled with tears. Whenever talking or listening to conversations about God, his body and mind was saturated with passion, love, and devotion towards the Supreme Being. The passion reached heights where even his enemies in Makkah would often comment, "Muhammad is intoxicated with the love of his Lord." The life of the Holy Prophet ﷺ could be considered a blank canvas that was thoroughly painted by his love, affection, and ultimate devotion to Allah. The responsibilities on his shoulders held a very heavy burden on his body and soul, where a large part of his life was spent trying to fulfill the duties presented upon him yet. The greater portion of his day and night was spent in the worship, remembrance, and praise of Allah Almighty. Leaving the comfort of his bed at midnight, burning the midnight oil at all hours of the night, and submitting himself to worship until it was time to go to the mosque for morning prayers, is how Holy Prophet ﷺ spent time in worship and recognition. Praying till the mat was wet with his own tears, till his chest heaved like that of an infant crying for his mother, and standing so long that his feet were swollen and a source of extreme pain, the Prophet ﷺ stopped at nothing to ensure that he played his part in gaining approval of his Creator. His condition often brought upon concern and worry from those around him. However, when Hazrat Aisha ﷺ expressed a mild protest regarding the prolonged period, the Holy Prophet ﷺ answered, "If Allah has, by His grace and mercy, conferred His love and nearness upon me, it is not my duty to return to be always rendering thanks to Him." It has also been narrated that one night the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, was in the home of one of his wives, Salama. After a little of the night had passed, Salama saw that the Messenger of God was not in bed. She got up and went looking for him. All of a sudden, she noticed that he was standing next to the room with his hands raised, his eyes full of tears, and he was saying the following: "Oh God, don't take away the good you have given me. Oh God, don't please my enemies and those who are jealous of me. Oh God, don't allow their evil from which you saved me to come back. Oh God, don't leave me to myself, even for one moment." At this point, Salama began crying. The Prophet said, "Why are you crying, Salama?" She said, "May my father and mother be your sacrifice. Why shouldn't I cry? Even though you have such a high station, and the fact that God has forgiven your past and future sins, you talk to God in this way. It is more appropriate for us to fear God and to cry in His presence." The Prophet said, "How can I be safe when God left Prophet Jonas, peace be upon him, to himself for only a moment, when that which afflicted him that took place?" Through each and every single conversation regarding the topic of an undeniable truth emerges like a breath of fresh air. An irrefutable piece of truth presents itself time after time, announcing that the Holy Prophet's devotion to Allah Almighty consisted only of truth, love, and sincerity. His presence and actions explain the meaning of this universe and introduce our Creator with His names and attributes. If we know God in His true sense, it is only because of the will of Allah and through the actions and words of the Holy Prophet ﷺ. Similarly, if we know that a perfect man exists, it is through the Prophet ﷺ himself. And how to be the perfect man and represent the universal values, it is again through his exemplary life. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah for reading extensive essay. Next, we are going to have the Urdu first position by Seeratun Nabi Jalsa.
السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ اشہد ان لا الہ الا اللہ وحدہ لا شریک لہ واشہد ان محمدا عبدہ ورسولہ اما بعد فاعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم حضرت صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی بے مثال عبادت. اللہ تعالیٰ قرآن کریم میں انسان کی وجہ پیدائش بیان کرتے ہوئے فرماتا ہے وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ، یعنی اور میں نے جن و انس کو پیدا نہیں کیا مگر اس غرض سے کہ وہ میری عبادت کریں. انسان کے مقام و مرتبہ کو بیان کرتے ہوئے حضرت مسیح موعود علیہ السلام فرماتے ہیں وہ اعلیٰ درجہ کا نور جو انسان کو دیا گیا یعنی انسان کامل کو، وہ ملائک میں نہیں تھا، نجوم میں نہیں تھا، قمر میں نہیں تھا، آفتاب میں نہیں تھا، وہ زمین کے سمندروں اور دریاؤں میں بھی نہیں تھا، وہ لال اور یاقوت اور زمرد اور الماس اور موتی میں بھی نہیں تھا، غرض وہ کسی چیز ارضی اور سماوی میں نہیں تھا، صرف انسان میں تھا یعنی انسان کامل میں، جس کا اتم اور اکمل اور اعلیٰ اور عرفہ فرد ہمارے سید و مولا سید الانبیاء سید الاحیاء محمد مصطفیٰ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم ہیں. وہ انسان کامل ہی تھا جس نے اپنے رب سے عبودیت کے راز سیکھے اور اس مقام محمود کے اعلیٰ ترین درجے پر فائز ہوا جہاں تک مخلوق کی رسائی ممکن تھی. اس کی عبادت کا رنگ کیسا تھا، اس کی تسبیح و تمہید، اس کے قیام و سجود اور اس کے خشوع و خضوع کی کیا کیفیت تھی، اس کا اندازہ لگانا تو ہمارے بس میں نہیں. ہمارے پاس تو محض اس کی چند جھلکیاں ہیں جو حدیث کے اوراق میں محفوظ ہیں، جن سے اس فانی فی اللہ کی عبادت کے طریق کا پتہ ملتا ہے، جس کا تمام تر وجود اٹھتے بیٹھتے سوتے جاگتے اپنے رب کی عبادت میں مشغول تھا، یہاں تک کہ اسے حکم ہوتا ہے کہ اے محمد تو کہہ دے کہ میری عبادات اور میری قربانیاں اور میرا جینا اور میرا مرنا اللہ ہی کے لیے ہے جو تمام جہانوں کا رب ہے. نبوت سے قبل عین جوانی میں ہی آپ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کا یہ حال تھا کہ کئی دن خلوت نشینی میں اپنے رب کی عبادت میں مصروف رہتے. غار حرا نے کیا کیا دیکھا ہم نہیں جانتے. وہ اس انسان کامل کے قلب سے اٹھنے والا شعلہ عبودیت ہی تھا جس نے ربوبیت کے نور سے اس کامل وحی کو جذب کیا جو نسل انسانی کے لیے دائمی طور پر سرچشمہ ہدایت بنی. منصب نبوت پر فائز ہونے کے بعد آپ کو حکم ہوتا ہے کہ فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ وَإِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَارْغَب، کہ جب تو دن بھر کی ذمہ داریوں سے فارغ ہو تو رات کو اپنے رب کے حضور کھڑا ہو جا اور اس کی محبت سے تسکین دل پایا کر. یہی عبادت کی لذت تھی کہ ایک موسم سرما کی سرد رات جب آپ حضرت عائشہ رضی اللہ تعالیٰ عنہا کے ہاں تھے، لحاف میں داخل ہو جانے کے بعد فرماتے ہیں کہ اے عائشہ اگر تم اجازت دو تو آج رات میں اپنے رب کی عبادت میں گزار دوں. اور پھر آپ ساری رات عبادت میں روتے روتے سجدہ گاہ تر کر دیتے ہیں. ابھی تو غیر بھی یہ کہنے پر مجبور ہو گئے تھے کہ عاشقہ محمد ربہ، کہ محمد اپنے رب پر عاشق ہو گیا ہے. عبادت کے دوران اللہ تعالیٰ کی رحمت و مغفرت کو کھینچنے والی تضرعات بھی تو ہم نے آپ ہی سے سیکھی۔ حضرت عائشہ رضی اللہ تعالیٰ عنہ بیان کرتی ہیں کہ ایک رات میں کیا دیکھتی ہوں کہ آپ کپڑے کی طرح زمین پر پڑے ہیں اور کہہ رہے ہیں، اے اللہ تیرے لیے میرے جسم و جان سجدے میں ہے، میرا دل تجھ پر ایمان لاتا ہے، اے میرے رب یہ میرے دونوں ہاتھ تیرے سامنے پھیلے ہیں اور جو کچھ میں نے ان کے ساتھ اپنی جان پر ظلم کیا وہ بھی تیرے سامنے ہے۔ اے عظیم جس سے ہر عظیم بات کی امید کی جاتی ہے، عظیم گناہوں کو تو بخش دے۔ پھر فرمایا، اے عائشہ جبریل نے مجھے یہ الفاظ پڑھنے کے لیے کہا ہے، تم بھی اپنے سجدوں میں پڑھا کرو۔ جو شخص یہ کلمات پڑھے سجدے سے سر اٹھانے سے پہلے بخشا جاتا ہے۔ یہی انسان کامل تھا جس نے روئے زمین پر توحید کے جھنڈے گاڑے، جس کی عبادت یاد الہی اور حمد باری تعالیٰ سے لبریز تھی۔ کسی نے حضرت عائشہ رضی اللہ تعالیٰ عنہ سے حضرت صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی نماز تہجد کا حال دریافت کیا تو آپ نے فرمایا، حضور رمضان یا اس کے علاوہ دنوں میں 11 رکعتوں سے زیادہ نہ پڑھتے تھے، مگر وہ اتنی لمبی پیاری اور حسین نماز ہوا کرتی تھی کہ اس نماز کی لمبائی اور حسن و خوبی کے متعلق مت پوچھو، یعنی میرے پاس وہ الفاظ نہیں جن سے آپ کی اس خوبصورت عبادت کا نقشہ کھینچ سکوں۔ بخاری۔ حضرت عوف بن مالک اشجعی سے مروی ہے کہ ایک رات مجھے نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کے ساتھ عبادت کرنے کی توفیق ملی۔ آپ نے پہلے سورہ بقرہ پڑھی۔ آپ کسی رحمت کی آیت سے نہیں گزرتے تھے مگر وہاں رک کر دعا کرتے، اور کسی عذاب کی آیت سے نہیں گزرتے تھے مگر وہاں رک کر پناہ مانگتے۔ پھر قیام کے برابر آپ نے رکوع فرمایا جس میں تسبیح و تحمید کرتے رہے، پھر قیام کے برابر سجدہ کیا، سجدے میں بھی تسبیح و دعا پڑھتے رہے، پھر کھڑے ہو کر آپ نے آل عمران پڑھی، پھر اس کے بعد ہر رکعت میں ایک ایک سورت پڑھتے رہے۔ ابی داؤد۔ یہ انسان کامل ہی ہے جس کی شان اور سبقت ہر پہلو سے اللہ کی حمد کرنے میں کھل کر سامنے آتی ہے۔ جیسا کہ آپ کا نام احمد بھی تھا، آپ نے اس کمال سے اللہ کی حمد و سپاس کر کے دکھائی جو بے نظیر و بے مثل ہے۔ اس راہ میں آپ نے کسی شے کی پرواہ نہ کی۔ احادیث سے پتہ چلتا ہے کہ آپ کے طویل قیام فرمانے کی وجہ سے آپ کے پاؤں متورم ہو جایا کرتے تھے، اور آپ کے خشوع و خضوع کا یہ عالم تھا کہ روتے روتے سینے سے ہنڈیاں اگلنے کی آواز آتی تھی۔ آپ سے عرض کی گئی، اس قدر مشقت کیوں کرتے ہیں؟ حالانکہ اللہ تعالیٰ آپ کی بخشش کا اعلان فرما کر آپ کو معصوم و بے گناہ قرار دے چکا ہے۔ تو آپ نے فرمایا، اے عائشہ کیا میں اس نعمت پر عبادت گزار اور شکر گزار بندہ نہ بنوں؟ اللہ عبودیت کا ایسا عظیم الشان اظہار نہ کسی آنکھ نے دیکھا نہ کسی کان نے سنا۔ رمضان کا مہینہ آتا تو آپ کی عبادت میں مزید اضافہ ہو جاتا۔ آخری عشرہ میں آپ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم اعتکاف فرماتے، خود بھی راتوں کو زندہ کرتے اور اہل بیت کو بھی جگاتے۔ رمضان کے مہینے میں کثرت سے قرآن کریم کی تلاوت فرماتے۔ حضرت جبرائیل علیہ السلام کے ساتھ ہر ماہ رمضان میں قرآن کریم کی دہرائی فرماتے، اور وفات سے قبل آپ نے 2 بار قرآن کریم دہرایا۔ بخاری۔ قرآن کریم کی تلاوت بلند آواز میں فرماتے، کلام الہی سن کر آپ پر رقت طاری ہو جایا کرتی تھی اور آنکھوں سے آنسو جاری ہو جایا کرتے تھے۔ آپ روزہ کی عبادت کا بھی خاص اہتمام فرمایا کرتے تھے۔ نبوت سے قبل عربوں کے دستور کے مطابق 10ویں محرم کو روزے رکھتے۔ نبوت کے بعد قیام مکہ کے دوران آپ کئی مہینوں تک روزے رکھتے رہے۔ مدینہ میں روزوں کی فرضیت کے بعد آپ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم رمضان کے علاوہ شعبان کا اکثر مہینہ روزے رکھتے تھے۔ بخاری۔ مہینہ کے نصف اول میں اکثر روزے رکھتے اور مہینے میں 3 دن معمولاً روزے رکھتے۔ عام طور پر مہینہ کے پہلے سوموار اور اگلے دونوں جمعرات کے دنوں میں روزے رکھتے۔ آپ سے مروی ہے کہ سوموار اور جمعرات کو اعمال خدا کے حضور پیش ہوتے ہیں، اور میں پسند کرتا ہوں کہ میرے عمل اس حالت میں پیش ہوں کہ میں روزے دار ہوں۔ ترمذی۔ بعض مواقع پر آپ کئی دن تک متواتر بھی روزے رکھتے رہے، جس کے درمیان میں افطار نہ کرتے تھے، مگر صحابہ کو آپ نے اس سے روکا اور فرمایا کہ مجھے تو اللہ تعالیٰ کھلا پلا دیتا ہے۔ بخاری۔ ذکر الہی اور اللہ تعالیٰ کی حمد و سپاس حضرت صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کی عبادات کا ایک اور خاصہ تھا۔ خلوت ہو یا جلوت، دن ہو یا رات، آپ کا دل ہمہ وقت اللہ تعالیٰ کی یاد سے لبریز رہتا تھا۔ آپ فرماتے تھے کہ ایک مجلس میں بیٹھے ہوئے بعض دفعہ 70 سے بھی زائد مرتبہ میں استغفار کرتا ہوں، اور فرماتے تھے کہ میری آنکھیں جب سو جاتی ہیں تب بھی دل نہیں سوتا. گویا ذکر الہی آپ کے دل کی غذا تھا. آپ کی نمازیں مجسم ہم تھیں. جب آپ محبت الہی اور ذکر و شکر کی اس نماز سے فارغ ہوتے تو خدا کو یوں یاد کیا کرتے تھے: اللہم اعنی علی ذکرک و شکرک و حسن عبادتک. اے اللہ مجھے اپنے ذکر، اپنے شکر اور اپنی خوبصورت عبادت کی توفیق عطا فرما. ہزار ہزار درود اس انسان کامل پر جس نے ہمیں اپنی پاک سیرت سے عبادات کے طریق سکھلائے. ہماری کامیابی اسی میں ہے کہ ہم اس عظیم الشان مربی کی قابل پیروی کرتے ہوئے اپنی عبادات میں بھی وہ رنگ پیدا کرنے کی کوشش کریں جس سے اللہ کی رضا حاصل ہوتی ہے اور وہ مقصد پورا ہوتا ہے جس کے لیے ہمیں پیدا کیا گیا ہے. ہماری تمام تر ترقیات اسی انسان کامل کی غلامی سے ہی وابستہ ہیں. میں آخر پر حضرت مسیح موعود علیہ السلام کی اس تحریر پر مضمون کو ختم کرتا ہوں. آپ علیہ السلام فرماتے ہیں: میں ہمیشہ تعجب کی نگاہ سے دیکھتا ہوں کہ یہ عربی نبی جس کا نام محمد صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم، ہزار ہزار درود و سلام اس پر، یہ کس عالی مرتبہ کا نبی ہے. اس کے عالی مقام کا انتہا معلوم نہیں ہو سکتا اور اس کی تاثیر قدسی کا اندازہ کرنا انسان کا کام نہیں. افسوس کہ جیسا حق شناخت کا ہے اس کے مرتبے کو شناخت نہیں کیا گیا. وہ توحید جو دنیا سے گم ہو چکی تھی وہی ایک پہلوان ہے جو دوبارہ اس کو دنیا میں لایا. اس نے خدا سے انتہائی درجہ پر محبت کی اور انتہائی درجہ پر بنی نوع کی ہمدردی میں اس کی جان گداز ہوئی. اس لیے خدا نے جو اس کے دل کے راز کا واقف تھا اس کو تمام انبیاء اور تمام اولین و آخرین پر فضیلت بخشی اور اس کی مرادیں اس کی زندگی میں اس کو دیں. اللہم صلی علی محمد و علی آل محمد وبارک وسلم انک حمید مجید. وآخر دعوانا
جزاک اللہ حارث صاحب for very enlightening essay and speech. I hope we all take some notes from his speech and tread on these best examples. Next, there is a very short clip. Due to the time, we have only one clip presented to you. So can I request the audio video, please present that clip. Can you turn on the sound? There is no sound.
جو انسان کو دیا گیا، یعنی انسان کامل کو، وہ ملائک میں نہیں تھا، نجوم میں نہیں تھا، قمر میں نہیں تھا، آفتاب میں بھی نہیں تھا، وہ زمین کے سمندروں اور دریاؤں میں بھی نہیں تھا، وہ لال اور یاقوت اور زمرد اور الماس اور موتی میں بھی نہیں تھا، غرض وہ کسی چیز ارضی اور سماوی میں نہیں تھا، صرف انسان میں تھا، یعنی انسان کامل میں جس کا عدم اور اکمل اور اعلیٰ اور عرفہ فرد ہمارے سید و مولا Sayyidul Anbiya, Sayyidul Ahya, Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Jazakallah. At this time, I request Imam Sahib to deliver the concluding speech, and then we are going to have a concluding dua.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before I start my presentation, I would request everyone who's sitting on the floor to please stand up for 5 seconds. All those who are in this hall or upstairs sitting on the floor, I request that please stand up for 5 seconds. Alright. Could I request those who are, in the second row, please come to the first row, meaning as close as possible, so that we have more space at the back. Please take a seat. My request is, especially to the children who are sitting in the first row, please make sure that you're not making any noise. Okay? Alhamdulillah, the essays, both in English and Urdu, were excellent. Definitely points to remember from both of them, and excellently written and equally well presented. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها المزمل قم الليل إلا قليلا نصفه وانقص منه قليلا أو زد عليه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا إنا سنلقي عليك قولا ثقيلا إن ناشئة الليل هي أشد وطئا وأقوم قيلا إن لك في النهار سبحا طويلا واذكر اسم ربك وتبتل إليه تبتيلا. In the name of Allah, the Gracious, the Merciful, O thou who art bearing a heavy responsibility, stand up in prayer at night, except a small portion thereof, half of it, or make it a little less than that, or make it a little more than that, and recite the Quran slowly and thoughtfully. Verily, we are charging thee with a weighty word. Verily, getting up at night is the most potent means of subduing the self and most effective in respect of words of prayer. Thou hast indeed during the day a long chain of engagements. So remember the name of thy Lord and devote thyself to Him with full devotion.
These are the verses, the first 9 verses of Surah Al-Muzammil, chapter number 73 of the Holy Quran, which was revealed in the earlier part of Holy Prophet ﷺ's ministry. Have you ever wondered what a day in the life of Holy Prophet ﷺ must have looked like? A day usually has 24 hours. The day can be divided in 2 parts, day and night. Wonder for a second, visualize what a day of the Holy Prophet ﷺ would have been like. The span of 24 hours. In today's program, in today's Jalsa Seeratun Nabi, what I intend to paint before you is the picture of Holy Prophet ﷺ's night, and to be precise, only 5 hours of it. So, at this Jalsa, from a day in the life of Holy Prophet ﷺ, I am going to share only 5 hours of his day, beginning with his Tahajjud Salah. When we go through the books of Ahadith and Sirah, we find out that Holy Prophet ﷺ would sleep right after offering his Isha Salah. Nowadays here in our area in Masjid Mubarak, Isha Salaat is currently happening at 7:30 p.m. So let's assume that 7:30 p.m. was the time of Isha Salaat more than 1400 years ago, around the same time of the year. Night begins nowadays at 6:56 p.m. and it ends at 5:47 a.m. just before Fajr time. A little before Fajr time, actually. In other words, we're looking at close to 11 hours and then some minutes or so of night. In the books of Ahadith, we find this narration that Holy Prophet ﷺ would spend, he would sleep right after Isha and then he would wake up just around the midnight. If I was to take the exact time when the night falls here and the exact time when the night ends here, the middle of it is the midnight mark. And that would be 12 a.m. and 21 minutes. So 12:21 a.m. Now, from the Quran and Ahadith, we find that Holy Prophet ﷺ would wake up either just before or right after the midnight mark. And from here begins the journey of his single day of Tahajjud prayer. And that's all that I will be able to share today. He would wake up, and the very first thing that he would do is he would recite the prayer of waking up, and then he would take his hands and he would rub his hands on his face so that he's fully up, fully awake. After which he would recite, while he is sitting on his bed, he would recite the last 10 verses of Surah Al-Imran. After this, our beloved Master, Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ would get up. He would find a small mashkiza, a small bag which contained water. And then he would perform wuzu. He would perform his ablution thoroughly. He would take his time to perform the wuzu appropriately and as properly as possible. And then he would begin offering his Tahajjud Salat. The way he would offer his Tahajjud Salat is that he would offer 8 nawafil in the sets of 2s, so 4 sets of 2 rakat each. and then he would end it with 3 rakat of witr salat. We'll come to witr salat in a bit. The way Holy Prophet ﷺ would start his tahajjud prayer would be, and the hadith, in the books of hadith it is mentioned, that Holy Prophet ﷺ would start off with light prayers. So the very first 2 rakat were not very heavy, were not very long. Sorry, this is for other individuals. For other individuals, he would say that you should start off easy. He said, إِذَا أَحَدُكُم مِّنَ اللَّيْلِ فَلْيَفْتَتِحْ صَلَاطَهُ بِرَكْعَتَيْنِ. When any one of you begins reading his tahajjud prayer or her tahajjud salat, do it by offering 2 nawafil that are easy, meaning that are not too long. Promised Messiah ﷺ used to take this hadith and he used to act on it. And the first 2 rakat, that the way Promised Messiah ﷺ would offer the tahajjud prayer, would be that in the first rakat he would recite Ayat al-Kursi after Surah Fatiha, and then in the second rakat after Surah al-Fatiha he would recite Surah al-Ikhlas. This way a person gets into the mental mode and physical mode of being completely focused in prayer. Let's quickly switch back to the tahajjud of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The very first 2 nawafil, the way he would offer them, according to Hazrat Huzaifa radiallahu anhu, who actually physically prayed with the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam one day. And what I'm presenting now is basically his testimony of what he observed. He said, in the very first rak'ah, the Holy Prophet ﷺ after Surah Al-Fatiha would slowly, beautifully, as Quran explained, and thoughtfully recite the first half of Surah Al-Baqarah. This is just the first rak'ah. Now, whatever the time it would take for him to recite this much would be the same amount of time he would spend in his ruku. Then, after his ruku, he would say, Sami Allahu liman hamida. And then, as long was his ruku, his qiyam now was also as long. And after this, he would then perform his first sajda. And his first sajda was as long as was his qiyam. And then he would say Allahu Akbar, and he would then sit between the 2 sajdas. This is called Jalsa. In this Jalsa, he would spend the same amount of time roughly as he just spent in his sajda. He would say Allahu Akbar and then go back in the second sajda. And now he will spend the same amount of time as he spent in Jalsa. This was just the first rak'ah. He would say Allahu Akbar and then he would stand up again. And now he will offer the second rak'ah. And the way he would offer second rak'ah is that after Surah Al-Fatiha, he would finish the remaining portion of Surah Al-Baqarah. For those of you who are still wondering how many verses are there in Surah Al-Baqarah, to be precise, that's 287 verses. 40 rukus. 40 rukus. And this is just the second rak'ah by now. After performing his second rak'ah, after reciting the remaining portion of Surah Al-Baqarah, Holy Prophet ﷺ would then say Allahu Akbar and go in ruku. Again spending the same amount of time in ruku now as he just spent in his qiyam while reciting Surah Al-Baqarah. Then he would go back from ruku into qiyam, spending the same amount of time as his ruku. Then in sajda, then in jalsa, then in sajda, and then his qawma. Qada. This is how he would perform his first 2 rak'ahs. the next two set of rakats would be slightly shorter, still longer, but slightly shorter than the first two. And here is what he would recite in the second set of his rakat. After Surah Al-Fatiha, he would recite a big chunk, close to maybe half of Surah Ali Imran. Then he would say Allahu Akbar and go in ruku, just like the first two rakat. He would spend the same amount of time in ruku as he just spent in his qiyam. Then from ruku he would go back into qiyam and spend the same amount of time. Then sajda, then jalsa, then sajda. Again at each step, spending the same amount of time. Then he would say Allahu Akbar and stand up again. And then he would offer the second rakah, in which after Surah Fatiha he would finish the remaining portion of Surah Ali Imran. Those of us who are wondering how many ayat and how many rukus that is, that's 201 verses, equaling a total of 20 rukus this time. Then he would go in ruku, spending the same amount of time as his qiyam. Then from ruku back to qiyam, from qiyam to sajda, then jalsa, then back to sajda, and then qada, spending the same amount of time at each step. This is how he would spend his time. By now he has just offered first 4 nawafil. His third set of rakats would be that after Surah Al-Fatiha, he would recite around half of Surah An-Nisa. About half of Surah An-Nisa. And then following the same pattern, same amount of time would be spent in his ruku, then qiyam, then sajda, and all the other parts of his salah. And in the second rakah, he would then finish after Surah Fatiha. He would finish Surah An-Nisa. Again, spending the same amount of time as his ruku, qiyam, sajda, so on and so forth. And the last 2 rakat of his tahajjud, he would recite after Surah Al-Fatiha, Surah Al-Ma'idah. The first half of Surah Al-Ma'idah in the first rakah, again spending the same amount of time in his ruku, then qiyam, then sajda, then jalsa, then sajda, and then back for the second rakah. This time finishing the remainder of Surah Al-Ma'idah. In another hadith it is mentioned that it is probably Surah Al-Anfal. So it's either of the two. But let's go with the first narration that says Surah Al-Ma'idah. By now, Holy Prophet ﷺ has spent around 4 hours, more than 4 hours, of his time in remembrance of his God. Surah Ali Imran had 201 verses, total of 20 rukus. Surah An-Nisa has 177 verses, a total of 24 rukus. Surah Al-Ma'idah has a total of 121 verses, totaling 16 rukus. When you put all these rukus together, you get 100 rukus. 100 rukus in a single night in Tahajjud Salat. And the total number of verses, I calculated it before coming here today. It's 786. 786 was the number of the total number of verses that he would recite in a single night in his Tahajjud Salat. After this, he would offer his witr salat. And the way he would offer his witr salat is that he would break it into 2. First, he would offer 2 rakat. Then he would say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And then he would stand up and then offer the 3rd rakat. And the way he would offer his witr is that in the first rakah he would offer Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he would offer Surah Al-Ala after the recitation of Surah Al-Fatiha. In the second rakah he would offer Surah Al-Kafir. And in the third rakah Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam would offer Surah Al-Ikhlas. After this, after having offered his witr salat, Holy Prophet ﷺ would go back to his bed and then sleep on his right hand. And when he would hear the muazzin call the azan for Fajr Salat, he would wake up again, he would perform wuzu, or he would take a quick shower, and then he would proceed to the masjid for Salat. In the ahadith we find that Holy Prophet ﷺ would offer his sunnah prayers at home, and then he would go to masjid. So most likely he would have offered his sunnah prayers for the Fajr Salat at home, and then he proceeded to the masjid for the Fajr prayer. What a long, beautiful night. This is why Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha, when somebody asked her, what was the life of Holy Prophet ﷺ like? Her response was, have you not read the Quran? Kana khuluquhu bil Quran. Because if you read Quran, you would know that his morals, his days, his nights were exactly in accordance with what the Quran says. And this is why I started my speech with the recitation from the Quran, from Surah Al-Muzammil. In his later years of night, before we talk about the next point I want to mention, Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anha has been quoted that Holy Prophet ﷺ, when he would read such lengthy prayers, such lengthy tahajjud, night after night after night after night, months after months, years after years, she would say to Holy Prophet ﷺ that قَدْ غَفَرَ اللَّهُ لَكَ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنبِكَ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ, that Allah the Almighty has forgiven your shortcomings, your inclinations, if there be any. Allah has forgiven any wrong inclinations of yours from the past and from the future. Why do you go so hard on yourself? And the reason she would say this is because she would see her husband night after night in that agonizing pain. The narrators of ahadith mention that Holy Prophet ﷺ, when he would pray this long, his feet would become swollen and then his heels would crack. Imagine the pain. Imagine the pain. And now look at the response that Holy Prophet ﷺ gave to his wife. He said, what you're saying is true. But does that not mean that afala akunu abdan shakura? Does this not mean that I now should become a grateful servant of my Lord? This was him thanking his Allah every night. And this is just the night. Towards the last segment of Holy Prophet's life, when he became very old, his tahajjud was still very long. And it is mentioned in the books of ahadith that now when he was extremely old, towards the end of his life, Holy Prophet ﷺ would still offer tahajjud salat, most likely the same way, but this time around sitting. So he would recite most of the verses in each rak'ah while sitting. And when 30-40 verses would remain, then he would stand up and then finish his recital. And then he would go into ruku, then qiyam, then sajda, until he comes back up for the second rak'ah. And then he would sit again. And then he would, while sitting, recite again for a very long time from the Quran. And then when few verses were left, around 30-40 verses, again he would then stand up and then finish reciting the portion of the Quran while standing. And then he would go into ruku, then qiyam, then sajda. My dear brothers and sisters, what I have shared here with you are barely 5 hours of the life in a day of Holy Prophet ﷺ. May Allah Ta'ala allow me and all of you and our family members to become true worshippers of Allah Ta'ala. May we become true servants of Allah Ta'ala. May we become true lovers of Holy Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Because, believe me when I say this, all blessings lie in following the Sunnah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. May Allah the Almighty forgive our shortcomings and accept our humble efforts. Ameen. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
With that, please, I request Rabbi Sahib to lead us in collective dua, and then we will break for Zohar.
Dua.